Hi everybody, welcome to Mystic Shield Tarot. I'm Kathy and I will be doing a reading for today about the chakra system. So we're going to look at the different chakras, how they're interacting with each other, which ones might be activated, which ones need a little help. And along those lines, we'll also be looking at like which chakras to focus on and the cause of some of these imbalances that you might be experiencing. So the way we start out with a pick a pile is you just simply pick a pile. So you can pick based on whichever card you're drawn to. You might consider holding your hand over the cards, or if it's on the phone, I even like use my finger sometimes and just feel what feels different, what feels attractive. It might be warm, tingly, cool. Another way to do it is to look at the charms and see which ones kind of draw your attention. So pile 1 has the yin yang symbol. Pile 2 has a foot. And pile 3 has a dolphin. All right, so take a minute, see what stands out to you. If more than one pile stands out to you, it might be that you watch more than one pile to get, more information. Whatever feels right is right. Hi, pile 1, you chose the first card in this yin yang charm. So let's see what we have for your reading today. Again, this is a reading on your chakra system. We're going to take a look at the different chakras, how they're working together, the things that are happening in your life that might be contributing to the way your chakras are working and the balance or imbalances that they have. Okay, so we are getting some cards already. Oh, they're very vocal. They want to be involved. I will be reading with reversals for this reading. Typically I don't, but today I will be. I believe that is one that's straight up. This is fascinating. It's really excited. I think the cards are excited to be in this reading. And this is one of my favorite kinds of readings to do, being a Reiki master and kind of working with people's chakras. In energy healing sessions, it always kind of fascinates me to see the way our systems work together and the stories that our energy bodies can tell. All right, so we know what a couple of these are, but let's get everybody out into the open. For your archetype card, you have the stone. That's a lovely card, and it really speaks to me of the first chakra, that root, which we're going to look at right now. And that is the death card reversed in that root chakra. Very interesting. And for the second, the sacral chakra, we have appropriately the Ace of Cups. What a wonderful match for that chakra. Then for the third chakra, or the solar plexus, we have the Four of Swords reversed. Okay. And then for the fourth heart chakra, we have upright strength, which is kind of lovely, speaking to that stone element there a little bit. For the throat chakra, we have the Tower reversed. For the third eye, the sixth chakra, we have the Sun reversed. Very, very interesting. And then for the crown chakra, we have the Two of Swords. And finally, we have for your aura, which is also the 8th chakra in some systems, we have Temperance. Very interesting. So to give you a general overview, if we were just looking at the balance of chakras and not getting into the details that we're about to get into, I can tell you that the chakras that are functioning or active, most active in your life right now, are the emotions and creativity aspect, more of like a creativity in expressing emotions, being able to express your emotions, or also there's like a level of sexuality in here that is strong and good. And then in addition, we have the heart chakra is the same. So relationships and everything, these are both active cards. And then the other active cards we have are the seventh chakra. So your ability to connect with other people or with the collective unconscious. Your spirituality is active, though it is the Two of Swords, so it might not be as active as it could be. And then your aura is also quite active. So a lot to do with relationships here happening. And then the ones that are less active, so there's a feeling of, I'm just trying to get an overview of the story. So there's an issue with the root chakra of feeling safe, with motivation, wanting to do things for yourself and your will, being able to create like in the world, like kind of manifesting wise, and then also communicating is tricky. It's interesting because you're creative, but it doesn't seem to make it out into the surface. And then also with your third eye, fascinating because you have tremendous potential for intuition and this kind of wisdom. But for some reason, this is not active right now. And let's have a look, because you're blocked somehow. And is it here that this story begins? I feel like a lot of times one chakra is where the story begins. And since we have the stone here, almost indicating that that's the case, I'm going to say it probably does begin with a need to feel secure and in touch with the physical world. So let's talk more about that. I was just listening today to a book on tape about connecting with nature. And it's interesting because what the woman said was to talk into stones and that they would hold on to the message that you give the stones. And so this coming up right now, it makes me feel like there's some message that is happening, some belief that you have that has challenged your sense of security. And it's not something that is necessarily yours, but it's something that got handed down to you. Like it could be an ancestral inheritance, or like a generational, that's the word, a generational inheritance, like how they now believe that DNA can hold trauma, that trauma can actually change your DNA and pass down from generation to generation. It's that kind of feeling to me. Is so far, we'll see if that pans out as we go through the reading. But right now, it does kind of feel like this insecurity, this instability. It's interesting because we're reading this on Friday the 13th right now. Not that that matters, but this is the 13th card. I'm just having a closer look at it. And there's this feeling of this being set in stone, this death card, that skeleton. And so there is fear here. There's a fear of loss. And I do feel like it's something that is more of a legacy, even though it could have perhaps panned out in your life and you could have experienced personally this sense of loss, kind of validating the fear that already existed. But I believe you were probably born with or born into a very strong fear of loss, some kind of disconnection with being in the world, which can be very challenging. And there could be a sense of not being willing to connect with your earthly existence because of preferring life in a more spiritual form. Though right now, that is even being blocked, which is very interesting. So let's keep talking about this. So the Ace of Cups is lovely. It's a water, it's very much like the purest water card in the tarot deck, and you just happen to have it. And I'm being facetious when I say just happened to. I don't believe this is a coincidence. You have it right in the water chakra, that second chakra. So there's a lovely flow here, an ability to navigate emotions or to be aware of them, to draw on emotions. There's an openness here that is very unique, and I believe tied to this very strong heart chakra, which is kind of almost like, I would say, in opposition, though that's not quite the right word, but these are starkly contrasted against each other. And it could be, and I imagine it is, that this strong heart chakra actually was born out of this insecurity about existence. This feeling of instability has caused you to find stability in your relationships or in your ability to love. So that's kind of lovely, in a way. So there's always pluses to things, there's always a positive and a shadow aspect, and I think that's playing out here. With the third chakra being the Four of Swords, and that being like your major like motivation and will chakra, like the chakra where we often can take on other people's desires for us and make them our own, or we have to stand strong in our own desires for ourselves. Yours is the Four of Swords reversed. I feel as though you have, on some level, consciously turned down the volume on this chakra, or chosen not to engage with it as much, because the Four of Swords is all about resting, but there's a willful feeling in this to me for some reason. And I'm going to get back to that in a minute. It does feel, though, that it could be connected with this inability to make a decision in the crown chakra. There's some decision I feel like you have to make that you aren't ready to make, or you don't want to make. And it's being heavily influenced by this feeling of insecurity around the root chakra. It's hard because I think relationships or love has become so powerful for you that you maybe have a hard time acting in a way that might hurt other people's feelings. I don't see that you take on other people's expectations for you as much as you are not moving in any direction because you don't want to upset anyone, but you also don't want to do what you don't want to do. So there's this kind of moratorium on action a little bit with that. So we have this reverse tower in the throat chakra. And it's interesting because it looks like this person to me is falling up in the card, where, if it was right side up, they'd be falling down and landing on their back. To me, it's like you're falling up, which speaks to this feeling of not being grounded. There's no ground to fall onto. Very interesting. So I feel in my body dizzy when I look at this. I feel like, and it's the throat chakra. So what happens? I don't want to say anything that I'm not feeling. I keep wanting to jump to conclusions here, but it isn't right to do that. And it's interesting that I want to pin it down, because is there a part of you that is trying to find your voice but is afraid to speak because you're afraid of what will happen? And that really follows along with this solar plexus chakra kind of not being willing to make a decision. There's this sense of danger that you are aware, I think, of the power of words, or, the fact that if you say what you want or you make an intention known, that it can have a very big effect on yourself and other people. And so there's this desire to express yourself or to speak, but a simultaneous incredible fear of it, because you don't know what the result will be. But it has to do with this lack of ground too. Okay, could it be that the lack of groundedness isn't giving you a strong place to stand from in these areas? And these two are areas of manifestation, of bringing things into reality, which is very hard to do when you don't have that solid foundation of the root chakra to build off of. Like the Ace of Cups is emotional, it's internal, it's easy to work with that and not have to bring things to the surface. It's the same with love. In relationships, those are not, there's no physical quality to them, not the same as these other, very physical, moving in the world and making decisions and acting in the world and then speaking or creating. It's bringing these things out physically that I think is a challenge for you because of this insecurity around life or being connected to the earth. Feeling like you are truly here on this planet in this time. Coming into that some more, we have this third eye chakra with the sun reversed. And I mentioned, I think in the beginning, this is like very much like you have a lot of power and a lot of strong intuition. And that absolutely makes sense because you've built this strong emotional relational life. And so there is a strong foundation here. However, I think this inability to kind of feel like you can act in the world, it's like you might get intuition, but you won't act on it. You might be aware of what needs to happen, but making that happen is very difficult. And it also leads to this Two of Swords, which is it's crazy because it's right side up, it's activated, you're connecting, but you can't make the connection like official. You can't commit to a relationship that is spiritual with results. It's very it's the Two of Swords. It's not, you're not sure what move to make, where to go with things. With the aura being Temperance, it's very interesting. There's an element of balance here, of balance, of bringing in the different elements and keeping things running smoothly. So the aura is kind of healthy, right? There's a healthy aspect to this. There's also still that juggling motion, which I associate with the twos, that's happening. The other thing that's interesting is these two cards have these eyes at the top as if you're being watched somehow. This is such an interesting reading. I feel like I'm being incredibly vague, but I don't mean to. So I have so many questions, but what are they? So the root of the problem is this insecurity, this root chakra, this fear. What I want to know is, which chakra do you work on to help yourself take action, right? That's the thing, to act physically in the world with confidence. So I am going to pull at least one other card to ask the tarot what chakra needs attention, what needs to be worked on for action to take place. We have several cards here. Let's see. All right, let's take a look. Courage. Well, that makes total sense with the fear card. Stress. Beyond illusion. Okay, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Creativity, absolutely. you've got a lot going on here. Of course you would. You had so many cards come up, and then comparison. Oh my goodness. And the cards look ridiculously tilted. All right. Hopefully that looks better. Okay. So there's this need for courage. And so you could work on this first chakra, though I do feel like if you work on it, it's more energy work than it is actually like thinking about death or journaling about it. This is more like listening to a meditation for the root chakra specifically. It's working energetically with that chakra. So that's one route to take. There is this stress card here, which tells me that, there's the fear also, there's an element of stress, which is more on the surface, but can serve as a distraction. So it takes kind of not buying into the distraction of things like, I don't know, just the word distraction is very strong in here. So, thinking about what are the ways that I distract myself from handling or dealing with these fears that I have? What are the things that I believe that are not really true, which carries us right into the Beyond Illusion card. I mean, absolutely. It's like, what are the illusions that you're buying into that actually just protect you from changing this? Because the fear element, it's also like you're trying to protect yourself here or other people or both. And so, whatever it is, whatever the beliefs are really probably a layer to be, removed so that you can do the true work on this chakra. Now, the chakra to really focus on in a more intellectual way or an energetic way is, I believe, this more intuitive, the third eye chakra with this Beyond Illusion. So it is turning on the light that's already there, that is so overwhelmingly there, and using that information to start making changes in your life. That you have a direct link to something greater than the earth and the physical realm. And this is so interesting for your knowledge. Like this also, like how I said, the love developed kind of because you couldn't rely on things. It's the same thing with your intuition. This ability to connect with the more spiritual realm is a result of this root insecurity. The problem is that it keeps you from really acting on it, but building that intuition, keeping working there, and along those lines, using your creativity are going to be two really big areas to focus. And you'll notice these are three major arcana cards. So they're really the important focuses here. And I think with the creativity and comparison, you're encouraged to create and to do things, but not necessarily share them with other people. That if you're worried about speaking up or being creative because of how it might affect other people or how it might affect you in relationships, take this element away and just let yourself be creative. Be creative for yourself, do something creative and then destroy it if you need to. It's not about the final product. It's about the experience of creating so that you can open up your intuition, so that you can open up these other chakras. So really it's kind of both of these, but I feel more heavily working in this intuitive third eye chakra is really the biggest, most important thing. And then secondary to that is it's almost like your intuition is going to lead you into creative endeavors. And the important part, again, it's this distraction of worrying about other people somehow in this. Just take those elements out and you're going to make a ton of progress. Because while you do have this inheritance of instability, there is a reason for this, which is a very spiritual reason. It's so that you could develop in these other ways. Not allowing yourself, you've kind of done all that work, and now it's just allowing yourself to come back into earth and bring the gifts that you've gathered and use them to make something. Because the point, it's to develop spiritually. That's something inside of the stone. There is another message that isn't just about you know, a lineage of trauma or whatever it is, but there's a message of, you know, the spiritual strength, the strength of love that can manifest itself physically in the world. And in making that leap and making that connection takes intuition, and then letting your intuition draw you into being creative. So from an energy perspective, working on that first chakra, and, you know, just imagining it in your mind, doing meditations, or even, you know, getting a Reiki session or something like that is a great idea. And then for the intuition, it's more like meditating, interacting, writing down what you've learned, like really actively working with this, not just from an energetic perspective, but from just a practical perspective, and then letting it lead you into this more creative area. And this is where you're going to find the bridge between the spirit and the physical for yourself. Wow. It's a beautiful, beautiful reading. You have such great potential, and you've done such amazing work to come from this kind of difficult place of having probably experienced, you know, a good deal of loss, or coming from a family that has experienced loss, and thus they aren't able to be present with you, and that's the loss that you experienced in your lifetime, possibly. Coming from that and building off of that, these ways to develop is really remarkable, and it speaks to a lot of strength and a lot of potential here. And in that way, you can really start engaging with the world and creating physical things, because that is your kind of, in this reading, at least, I feel that is your challenge, and that is also your purpose. And this thoughtfulness is required, and it will serve you very, very well. For the yin and yang, you know, it's interesting because I often think of, for me, you know, this reading resonates a lot with me, and I always think I have too much yin energy, which is very much air, you know, the air, it's sugar, it's not in the physical, and the yang is more heavy. And so bringing in more of that yang energy, it's kind of time for that for you now. And you are very capable of it. So this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found it helpful, if you enjoyed it, I do love it if you would like the video. It helps me immensely. If you enjoy readings or talking about tarot deck flip throughs and just talking about intuition or energy work in general, I recommend subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be doing a lot of that stuff. I have some really exciting things planned, and I would love for you to join me on that. So please consider subscribing, and more importantly, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye. Hi, pile number 2. You chose the second card and this cute little foot. So let's see what comes up for you in your reading today. I'm sorry, the camera is a little shaky. So what we're talking about is your chakra system. These cards are really excited, I feel like, to be doing this reading. They keep jumping out. So we'll be looking at your chakras, what's going on with them, where the balance and imbalance is. We'll be also looking, at, you know, the reasons behind what's happening in your chakra system, as well as what to focus on to help to bring balance if there is imbalance. This will go here, and one more. Thank you. All right, and let me just fix these up so they look nice and organized. Okay, almost there. Okay, so let's see what you have for cards. For your archetype card, you have the Underworld. I love this card. It is beautiful. All right. And that feels like a very root chakra card to me, but we'll see. All right. So then for the first chakra, you have the Tower reversed. This also came up in the first reading I did. For the second chakra or the sacral, you have the 10 of Swords reversed. Wow. For the third or solar plexus, you have the 10 of Wands reversed. So a lot of blocked energy happening here so far. And then in the heart chakra 4 is the 5 of Pentacles. Ooh, it just got very sunny. How lovely. For the throat chakra, you have the 9 of Swords. For the sixth chakra, the third eye, you have the 4 of Cups reversed. For the crown chakra, we have the Strength card. And for the aura, or what some people call the 8th chakra, we have the Knight of Cups reversed. Very interesting. So very blocked in these lower chakras, and then also in a couple of the higher, well, really just one of the higher chakras, and then also in your aura. So there's some kind of way that your aura is not as activated as it could be. And it's very interesting because you have this heavily armored person here, and they are all about relationships and things like that. So it's interesting because I feel in some way you might not do a great job of setting boundaries, but you also will only let people get so close to you. There's a closed off quality. That's very interesting. I hope to learn more about that as we go along. So for the Tower, it's really interesting this came up again. I was talking about it in the first reading and how it looks like you're falling up, and so there's no ground, and there's this feeling of being ungrounded in the root chakra, which is it's a hard chakra to feel ungrounded in, because it's all about grounding. It's all about feeling your feet on the earth, and feeling connected to the earth. A lot of times when you're doing a grounding exercise, you imagine roots going down into the earth. And so this feels like it's just not even an option for you right now. There is such a loss of that feeling of being grounded here, or even the ability to be grounded. With the second chakra, the sacral, we have the 10 of Swords reversed. Again, this feeling of not being grounded, of falling up into the sky. And obviously, very overwhelmed with emotion and thoughts, even more than emotion, that you have a lot of negative thoughts, or you feel you've been stabbed in the back. There's this need to release emotionally from things, but because you've been so hurt or overwhelmed, it's very hard to do that. That you really don't feel like your feet are on the ground right now. It's so interesting. I keep saying feet. And then to continue, we have another 10, the 10 of Wands reversed. And that is in your solar plexus, which is a card all about motivation and drive. And so it's interesting here because the Wands is very much the suit for this chakra. And the fact that it is 10 and it's reversed tells me that you often probably take on other people's burdens for your own, and you try to solve problems a lot for other people. And these two are very related because they're both 10s. I'm kind of giving you an overview, and then we're going to talk even more about what I'm seeing going on, just so you know. But these two do seem to be connected. And it's something to do with other people and the end of a relationship, or the end of a situation, or a situation that needs to end, that you're having a hard time letting go of, that has somehow been stored in these two chakras. So yes. And I feel like, as I look at this card, it's like if you could stay grounded, all of these wands would fall out and you would be able to remain standing. and then you would become the hanged man. This is like a visual intuition that's coming to me, which says to me that there is a great deal that you can learn and grow from in this experience. And it takes letting yourself be grounded. I'll explain that more. I know I keep saying that, but there is a deeper meaning there that I just don't know what it is yet. There is this like I feel that you don't want to be grounded somehow, or I don't know. We'll get to it. So then with the heart chakra, we have the Five of Pentacles, which is a card. It's a challenging card because it can feel like you're being left out or that you've been abandoned by other people. So there's this real feeling of instability, of not knowing who you can trust or who loves you. There's maybe an element of neglect from someone that's happening that kind of, I feel like, might be a big part of all of this. It could be the main chakra that kind of sets this story, because I don't think this is a permanent thing. I don't think it starts with this. I think it starts with this, but we'll keep going. And then you have in your throat chakra these jerks. This guy is laughing. It's a very taunting kind of card, the Nine of Swords in this particular deck. It's so there's a feeling like you would be ridiculed if you spoke up, or you were creative if you expressed how you feel or your emotions. So it kind of connects to the Ten of Swords, or the emotional chakra, in that way, that there is this kind of feeling of, the thing is that's so hard is this chakra is in good shape, but it's so full of these other people, these other concerns, that it's you want so much to express yourself, just like this person wants so much to go to sleep, but there are these things that are in the way, which is very challenging. And then for the third eye chakra, we have the Four of Cups. So you're getting information and you're not hearing it. There is definitely some guidance that you're receiving, some kind of message that's there for the taking, and it's in an intuitive form. There is some wisdom, something coming through to you that you are not hearing. And why is that the case? So interesting. There's like that's such a role that gravity plays in this particular reading. The question just popped into my head. What would happen if you let go? I'm just going to put that out there, because there is this feeling of holding on, and is staying grounded. They're not, and I think that might be part of the problem, is that you believe that standing strong and holding on to things is the same thing as staying grounded and staying firm, but they're two very different things, and the belief itself is causing you to be ungrounded. That was so deep in my head that I don't even remember what I said, but hopefully it makes sense. And if I need to call it back, hopefully it will come back to me. Wow. Okay, so then the next one is the Strength card, which is your crown chakra, which is an amazing card to have here. I mean, your connection with the collective consciousness, with consciousness, I don't know if I said that right, with spirituality is very much intact, and it's taken fighting for. It's fascinating. what is this need to be strong here? How does it interact with this need to let go or feel like you're not letting go? In this, there's this feeling of this kind of confusion between what's up and what's down, what's safe and what's unsafe, what is protective and what is cold. It's really fascinating. I'm going to ask, how, if at all, how is the Strength card connected to this need to let go? Thank you. I think one more will come out. Is there one more to say something? Yes, there is. Okay. Oh, wow. Intensity and success. And I'm going to ask, how does the Five of Pentacles play into this? How is the heart chakra influencing this storyline? I kind of want to wait for something to really be apparent that, yeah, there it is. We've got a couple here. Let's make some space. Okay. Huh. So we have breakthrough and conditioning, success, intensity. So conditioning is the easiest card to start with because it's in this idea of the wolf in sheep's, this confusion is right here. So I do believe the root of a lot of this blockage that you're experiencing has to do with this feeling of being abandoned, neglected, or betrayed, and feeling like you don't belong, and feeling like you have to be a certain way in order to belong too. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of, with conditioning, it's like you were kind of trained to be a certain way, and to not, like, to stay in line, or to not shine too brightly, I feel like. And then with the breakthrough, it's this, not accepting that anymore, and there's this pull towards that so much of just not accepting these limitations on yourself anymore, not accepting this belief that you've been raised with, or this, behavior modification kind of that's happened to you. With the tens, this is that's so funny. It's 11. I was thinking that it's like breaking through these two blocks that you've kind of internalized in these chakras. I feel like this is not new, that these are long-standing kind of beliefs that have been held or programmed like into these chakras of needing to take on other people's problems and being overwhelmed with thoughts, so you're not even sure how to feel, or just this pressure for rationality over emotion. And so the 11 is like talking about breaking through those things and taking away that conditioning. So the, not letting the Five of Pentacles, the heart chakra, the pain that it's experienced, be the last word on the experience of this chakra, that it is a very rich chakra, and that even in this experience, I feel like there is a story of love that happens here. And to keep that lesson of love, but to take away the negative lessons and the fact that you have to hide who you are is really important. And so pulling out of this some of the positivity, if you're able to, is really important. With the Strength card over here, and these two cards, as far as how they interact with this feeling of being grounded or not grounded, so you feel very much like you have to be successful. I mean, it's so like you're intense about being successful. So there's this feeling of, but in the crown chakra, you really want to appear strong or be strong. Your idea of what strength is, though, I believe, is not accurate at the moment, that it is more based on this idea of what success is according to the world at large, and also this feeling of like, it's a very narrow idea of what success might be, a very pointed idea. And I think this conditioning is at the heart of the holding on versus letting go kind of question. What does that look like? What does it actually mean to be protected? Which this aura card really asks that question, because you don't have an active aura, but you're very kind of closed off. And those two things aren't the same. Like, being closed off is not the same as being protected. And there's that confusion because of what happened in this heart chakra for you, and because of these things that have been left inside of your sacral and solar plexus chakra. I hope I'm making sense. I know it can get a little esoteric, I think, at times, but that's the nature of energy work, I think, also. So let's take these cards out. That was very helpful. Thank you. And let's talk about the underworld, and then we'll pull out one other card as well. Now, the underworld is very interesting because it is not a bad place, but we associate it with hell, and hell is a very bad place. However, the underworld, if you're looking at other religious traditions, is a place where just more deep work occurs that's more of a bodily nature, where, in, shamanic kind of religions, it's where you would meet your animal guides, or you would do healing, certain kinds of healing work. But the shadow side also does reside in the underworld, which is why I think it gets a bad rap in some cases. So this is talking about the letting go, and the idea of letting go so that you can face the thing you're afraid of, which is actually growth, and not this bottomless pit of it's just of uncertainty. I feel like there's not even like just a loss of control, not just this total loss of control, let's see. There's a lot about like what you believe, happening here. A lot of that is being called to your attention, believing more in these ridiculing voices than in the subtle, soft voice that speaks to you, that is wise, So it's this idea of putting what you've been told, putting what you like, what seems to be the truth, above what you know to be true. And that's it's very important to switch that around for you. So the last question I'm going to ask, oh boy, the tarot apparently already knows, is which chakra to focus on for you to help kind of switch this up, right? 5 and 3. 5 is nothingness, that's a major arcana, and then guidance for the 3 of rainbows or pentacles. Really interesting. So I think it's these two cards together, the 5th and the 6th chakra together, are where to focus your effort. So it's interesting because it's not always the root cause that we're looking at. It's not this storyline that you have experienced and gone through that's caused these changes in your energy system. It's other areas that can help to get things moving along. And for you, it's kind of saying no to the power of these people or these beliefs that have been pushed onto you. Sorry about that. I had to step out for a minute, and now I'm back. You can probably tell that the sun is setting a little more. So what we were talking about was, this need to let go of the beliefs that have kind of been pushed on you, especially around what is acceptable behavior, or what's acceptable as far as being yourself is concerned and how to be around other people. It may be that you were taught, you have to stay a certain way in order to receive love or to be lovable. And it's like time to re-examine that. And the way is through these two chakras. And so so it takes not accepting the judgment of others and not accepting all the voices that tell you how you should behave, who you should be, what you should feel, and challenging those and saying, I am worthy of being creative, of being outspoken. I am worthy of being able to have a good night's sleep, to rest. And in addition, that you have guidance in this regard to help you on this path. In working with these chakras, I would say that you could come at it from an energy perspective where you are doing energy work in these areas, doing a meditation on the 5th or 6th chakra, or doing just meditation in general. I feel like where this message is coming through to you, but you're trying so hard to stay in control that you can't hear it, so working on them from an energy way, not even having to confront them directly through the mind, but through energy can help with this, as well as working them directly with the mind, journaling about it, really asking, what is real and what is not real here? What do I know to be true and what have I been told is true? And because you have the ability or the right to choose what lessons to take from other people. You have the ability to say no to something that someone else has told you is true, because it may not be true for you and it may not be true in general, and I think so much of this is like that illusion beyond illusion, coming out of this idea of these rules you were raised with, these experiences you had that you drew a particular lesson from. You probably helped along that path, right? And now it's time to say, well, what were the positives that came out of this? What else can I learn? Can I learn that I'm a strong person, that I have built a life and have managed to make it this far, and therefore am worthy of going the next step, or just by mere existence worthy of going the next step? Because I do believe that's true. And it takes kind of confronting the fear of not pleasing people, of not doing what people expect or want of you, it takes kind of walking your own path here and being willing to face some fears that will lead to growth in actuality. There's this real fear of this nothingness card, which is exactly where you need to go to, is that nothingness. And it just makes me think of like the times when I've stood up for myself and had to wait for someone to react. I would text and I would just sit there and be like, oh my God, I felt like I was dangling off the edge of a cliff just waiting. And being in that place can be very challenging. It also builds strength and it is very rewarding. And there's so much richness in that experience. And you have the guidance, you have the support to make this journey. And as scary as it is, as much as it seems like a bad thing, it's really not. And to build actual strength that comes from wholeness and health, and not just relying on your own ability to like cut people off or say no, that takes a lot more work. It's a lot less comfortable, is going to serve you so, so well. So that is your reading. I hope it was helpful. I think that there is just so much richness here. You are on the verge of a real change, a real turn. If you take this path, you're watching this video, obviously some part of you is ready for this message and ready for this challenge. And so go for it, flip the story around is the thing. What have you been told, and how is it not true? And how is the opposite true? How is it good to rock the boat, right? How is it good to stand up for yourself? How is it good to choose health over other people? Those kinds of questions are so important right now. And turning the tower right side up on this root chakra is it's dismantling the foundation on which your belief system is built. And I think ultimately that's the direction you're headed in. And it comes through these two chakras though. So I hope this was really helpful. It was a really awesome reading. I feel really excited for you. This is like a journey of great. It takes courage, but it's also really freeing and it's really liberating. And what on earth can show up in these two chakras once you've gotten rid of these? What amazing things will happen here? What will you be manifesting? What feelings will come to the surface that you'll be able to appreciate and build on and express through your creativity? You know, what people get to be taken out of the equation, pushed out of your life because you realize you're worth more than they claim you are and you don't deserve to be treated poorly. You're on this, you know, the edge of this amazing, amazing, empowering journey. So I'm really excited for you. And I hope that you feel a little bit of excitement too. I know it's kind of like a tough reading in some ways, but it's also so full of potential. So thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, if you enjoyed it, please give it a like. That would mean a great deal to me. And if you like this kind of content, tarot readings, deck reviews, talking about tarot, intuition, energy work, please subscribe to the channel as I will be posting regularly, different content. I'm very open to hearing suggestions as well. And so don't miss out, subscribe. And even more importantly, have a wonderful day. And thank you so, so much. Bye. Hi, pile 3. You chose the third card and this sweet little dolphin charm. And this is going to be your reading. So let's see what cards come up. Again, this is a reading about your chakra system. We're going to look at, how they're relating to each other, what's influencing your chakras and what's imbalanced, what might be imbalanced. So all kinds of good stuff. And you'll find that, this can be a really interesting reading from, just insight into why things are the way they are, where you might be stuck, where you might be receiving information and have potential that you're not realizing. So it's really a great reading. And it's what I love to do because I'm a Reiki master and I absolutely adore working on people's chakras and seeing the story that unfolds as you go through them. So what we will do is we'll look at each individual one for an overview, and then we'll talk about kind of a little bit deeper and how they relate to each other. So first, let's look at your, let me just actually fix these. Let's look at your archetype card. All right, you have gnosis, which is knowledge. Where does that bird want to be? We'll put it here. It's interesting, this kind of, the dolphin has this curve to it, which is very interesting. So knowledge, that to me would be one of the higher chakras, but let's take a look. All right, for the first chakra, the root, you have the world. How wonderful. Wow. And then the Hierophant in the second chakra, which is your sacral chakra. And then for the third chakra, the solar plexus, Queen of Wands. Whew. And then for the fourth chakra, the heart, you have the Five of Swords. Very interesting here. For the throat, you have the Five of Pentacles. Really fascinating that you haven't had any reversals yet. And then for the third eye, you have the Ace of Pentacles. And then the crown chakra, you have the Knight of Pentacles. No reversals. Amazing. Let's see what is going on with your aura. High Priestess, number 2. Holy moly, no reversals. This is, there are reversals in this deck. You don't have any. That is amazing. I just want to put that out there to start. So if it was reversed, it would be indicative of, blocked chakras or things that are imbalanced. And so I'm not seeing that here, which is pretty darn remarkable. Let's see what we are seeing. So you have your aura and your first and second chakra are major arcana cards. And then you have these two that are court cards, which is interesting. They're more personalities. So let us see what's happening here. So for the root chakra being the world, it's so just a wonderful card to have here. It speaks to, being grounded, to knowing the kind of limitations that life has, but not in a negative way. Like there's a real ability to work with the elements in your life and to bring them together in a masterful way. So that is really amazing. I'm just kind of blown away. I know I keep saying that, but this is really quite remarkable. So then for the second chakra, you have the Hierophant, which is a card that has to do with, it can have to do with religion or initiation. There's a sense of control here of the emotions, but a spiritual kind of aspect to them. I don't know. We'll come back to that, but in general, that's what I'm seeing here. And then the Queen of Wands for the third chakra is amazing. It's the solar plexus. You've got a sunflower here that's so, third chakra, and the wands are absolutely the fire, which is also, the element of the third chakra. And this, I believe, is where you mostly reside, is you have, like your personality largely springs from this third chakra, this ability to, you're very driven, you're very creative, you're very focused on goals and goal-oriented. You are the queen of your castle in the third chakra. And that isn't necessarily, if you're a guy, you don't have to be the queen, but, it's not like a gendered thing. It's more of a personality thing, of being very receptive and nurturing and also focused and driven. And so it's a little bit less masculine in symbolism. And then we have, interestingly, in the heart, the Five of Swords, which is a different vibe altogether. And we do have a few fives here, which is also, something to consider as we go along. Fives are wonky. They're a little unstable. They're a little, it could go good, it could go bad kind of feeling to it. With the Five of Swords, that can be a card about dishonesty or taking energy away from other people, or having someone take your energy away from you. So there's an energy exchange happening in the heart chakra that is largely not a positive exchange of energy. There is you're either, doing something that takes people's energy away, or they're doing something to you. So we'll talk more about that. And then we have the throat chakra, which is also the Five of Pentacles, another five, and also kind of about imbalance. And here it's about feeling left out, or feeling like you're not able to access the more spiritual aspect of communication or creativity, possibly feeling abandoned or neglected. So these two cards I think these three are heavily related. So we'll talk about that more. Then the Ace of Pentacles in your third eye, fascinating to have that there. I feel like there is a lot of potential in this chakra that hasn't been realized yet, that it's more kind of just starting out here, where these other chakras have been more developed. This one is very pure in its energy, and part of that purity is because it hasn't been used as much. So that is a place that has a lot of potential. Then for your crown chakra, we have the Knight of Pentacles. Again, this is a personality. It's very interesting. And this is how you connect to the world at large. It's more of a spiritual card, a collective unconscious kind of card. And the fact that it's the Knight of Pentacles is very interesting, because the Knight of Pentacles would be a very grounded personality, someone who's very grounded, possibly practical to a fault, more interested in what you can gain from an experience than what you can offer it, I think, or what the outcome is, less journey oriented, I think, here. So that is intriguing to me. And then for the Aura card, you have the High Priestess, which is a gorgeous card, and again, really interesting in conjunction with the Ace of Pentacles. The High Priestess is such a card about intuition. It's ruled by the moon for the most part, so there's this this really, you have a strong gut, I think, when it comes to working with or talking to other people, that you have a very good intuition about other people. And that's driven, I think, by this potential, this raw kind of energy in this chakra. Does this chakra need to be developed more? I'm not sure. I think it's an interesting question. And I'm not sure what the answer to that is at this moment. Now, how are they working together? So I mentioned these three seem to be related with the fives happening. Then we have, these seem to be related as well. This is just so pure. And what is this one? Sorry, I'm kind of thinking out loud right now. So there's some kind of reflection happening. I feel like this Knight of Pentacles is looking at the Five of Pentacles and kind of thinking about what's happened. And so, you know, there's this aspect of maybe like on a spiritual or collective level, you're kind of thinking about, you know, how you communicate with other people, or let me think for a second. This is a really interesting reading. Connecting with other people. Connecting with other people is a challenge. There's an uncertainty. Even though you're very good at reading people, it doesn't always serve you the way it should. I can't tell if you're the person taking energy or if someone is taking energy away from you. And the Knight of Pentacles, it feels like it's this need to take only the it's a control thing, and it's very results driven. It's so interesting. And then the Five of Pentacles we have here. I just need to pull out some other cards, I think. I really want some clarification on these. Tell me about the fives. Here we go. Tell me about the fives in this reading. What is the Five of Swords referring to especially? Okay, let's see what we've got. Politics. So there is some kind of deceiving happening. Ordinariness, interesting. Letting go. Past lives. Some kind of karmic thing happening here. And success. Well, success is not a surprise to me in this reading with the Knight of Pentacles. I think you are very driven by outcomes. And the Queen of Pentacles, there's a very driven aspect in this whole reading. There is this feeling, though, of having to protect yourself. And that sometimes that need to protect yourself may result in you actually hurting other people and not meaning to. Necessarily. You may not care if you do or not. I'm not sure. That's for you to answer yourself. I can say that there is a good chance that you feel often like you're the one being threatened, and that you believe people are taking energy away from you, and maybe in reaction to that you do that to other people sometimes. So that's something to be aware of in yourself, where you are such a right energized person, there is a potential to use that power in a way that is somewhat negative. So be aware of that. If you want to grow in certain areas, that is something that's going to need to be addressed. For letting go, again, we have these eights. It's like about managing and bringing order to things. This is past lives. Is it possible that you're trying to bring balance to something that happened to you in the past? That you are trying to bring balance to this feeling of being left out, this feeling of not having access to the things that you need creatively. There's some limitation here. And it's not a true limitation. It's a perceived limitation. It's this idea that you're not liked or you don't belong or something like that. There's this feeling of rejection. That's the word. And it comes from the past, but because of that, it's brought about this change in you that you kind of are preemptively, being a politician and trying to, get things out of people, a little manipulative perhaps. I know these aren't great words, but there is a reason for it, and I think that's an important thing to realize as you go through something like this. So you're very afraid of being rejected, I think, in some ways. And that what is required of you, though, is to let go of this idea of rejection, of how you need to appear to other people, of having to bring balance to this situation. That's why all the cards are upright, because the cards are saying there is balance in your life. There is balance. You have already, whatever it needs to happen karmically to correct what happened has already happened. And now it's a matter of working on these two areas of your life to bring your energetic body up to the fact that things are in balance, that there are beliefs that you have that cause you to think that things aren't going well or you're in danger or you need to behave a certain way, when the truth is that that's not the case. And the success card just kind of speaks to this, again, this feeling that you're missing something, or there's feeling that this feeling of rejection, and it's not really here. It's here in your thoughts, but it's not here in fact. So things are actually, I think, better than you think, and you're doing better than you think in a lot of ways. You don't have to prove yourself so much, and this need to prove yourself is actually kind of threatening the balance more than the past situation is. It's the reaction to it that's actually kind of a problem. So let's just look some more at these cards. In the Hierophant, there is this, again, it kind of echoes this idea of emotion, because the Hierophant, I said these cards have to do with each other. And in the Five of Pentacles, the traditional one is like you're outside of a church and it's snowing, and you could go into the church, but you choose not to. Maybe you don't realize it, but there is acceptance available to you. And so with the Hierophant being here, I feel as though it's this need to accept your emotions, to accept vulnerability in your life, I think is going to help you, because you're not having satisfying relationships. That I can tell you. I should have led with that probably, but it didn't occur to me. So even though you're getting maybe what you think you want from these relationships, you're really not satisfied. You're not happy with your relationships. And in part it's because you're afraid. Largely it's because you're afraid of rejection and things like that, but it's also because you actually kind of preempt everything, and it does end up in rejection, but because people don't like how you're treating them. And it's a hard thing to say because it seems harsh, but I'm very much, as you probably noticed, I don't pull any punches reading tarot. I'm very honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat things because I think you or anyone I'm reading for, if you're here for the reading, you're here for the truth, and that you're owed that much. You know what I mean? Like in respect to you as a person, to your potential as a being, you're owed to know what the cards are saying. And so I'm just going to say it like it is. And there was no judgment in any of this from me because, I mean, in the cards, it's the story of why this happens. You know what I mean? And that is all laid out here. So while you're in this upright positions, there are these potential two imbalances. And since it's the heart and throat chakra, it could be, also it could affect you physically with congestion or a sore throat, and not being able to really express yourself clearly or feel like you're allowed to express yourself in a way that isn't the politician's way of trying to get something out of somebody or change how somebody feels. And I think with the knowledge card, you're being given knowledge in this reading, in your life. With the Ace of Pentacles here, there is a pure goodness coming through to you and trying to help you to write to bring balance back as far as like letting go of the past things that happened to you to make you feel like you were being taken advantage of and to react to that. And that's just so important. I want to ask the cards which chakra you can focus on to kind of help with this process of letting go, honestly, of the past. So what chakra should we focus on? Oh my goodness. Ooh, the mind, holy moly. Would you look at that answer? Good Lord. That's powerful stuff right there. I'm going to pull out a couple more too, just for more clarification. I feel that this one wanted to come out. And again, we have the feeling of letting go with the Fool. Tell me more about this chakra we should work on. Oh dear, that's too many cards. And there it is. Okay. It's like, projections. Okay, beautiful. So the chakra I think to work on is the Ace of Pentacles here, which is your intuition. The second reading I think also had the same chakra to work on, which is your sixth chakra, your third eye chakra, to work on these beliefs you have, to challenge them, to change them. With the Fool card, it speaks to the purity of this chakra. And so working with the purity of this and the fact that you can read people so well, I think is going to help you out immensely. And I think working at it from an energetic level is really important. I believe the Mind card here is really calling to you to let go of the thoughts that hold you back from growing in this way. That, the intuition, the working with this third eye chakra is not about thinking. It's about receiving or perceiving and being present and open to your experiences and not just thinking yourself out of it. So not being like, oh, I'm just making this up or whatever. You know what I mean? You have like very good intuitions about people and not projecting and along with this, not projecting what you think other people are like or how they're going to treat you. Taking that out of the picture is so important. And those things can be accomplished by working on this sixth chakra. And you can come at it from an energetic perspective, which would be, to meditate on specifically the sixth chakra. You could just meditate in general because that is right in the wheelhouse of that chakra. But there's also like specific meditations you can do based on this particular chakra. The other thing is if you wanted to come at it from a more rational, logical way and not energy work, just thinking about what areas you can let go of, what projections you've been having, what have you been placing onto other people that might not be there, what is happening in your relationships that you think is happening versus what is actually happening. And I want to just come back really quickly to the High Priestess here in your auric field, because the thing is that with all of the good stuff you have happening with the World card, being able to, you're very wise in some ways, and you are flexible. You have a lot of power in the Queen of Wands here. And so to me, the High Priestess speaks to this intuitive ability to read people, and you can use that ability not just to protect yourself or to affect how other people treat you or don't treat you, but to help people and to bring more value to your relationships so that you're not so focused on the outcomes, on how you're treated, on protecting yourself. But in here, you can be focused on the more spiritual aspect of things. You can bring this, into this part that I think is not as developed as this chakra being a core card. This is a very developed chakra. This is not as developed. The Knight of Pentacles, I don't think belongs here. It's too limited a vision for the 7th chakra, which is so open and cosmic. To have it be a person here is just too limiting. And so here also is, a dissatisfaction with the spiritual side of things that I think can be addressed as well with working with this chakra. I think that's about it. But the Dolphin, let's talk about the Dolphin really quickly. And this knowledge, you don't have to be on top of everything all the time, And there's a playfulness there's a playfulness to the Dolphin versus these very serious cards. I mean, there's this potential for celebrating yourself, for celebrating the things that are wonderful about you, that you bring to the table. Your accomplishments, your comfort in your own skin is remarkable, and to draw on that as a power, like the dolphin, how it leaps in and out of the water. You can tell a dolphin is just happy with its existence, with its abilities, and it doesn't need other people's approval. It doesn't need to worry about being rejected. It's a dolphin, you know what I mean? And you are too, in some ways, and in realizing that is going to help you. And it's also very intuitive. You have such a wealth of energy you can draw from here. You're very well equipped. Being willing to take the risk of not controlling people and not trying to control outcomes and not trying to focus so much on success. It will be wonderful. It will be wonderful. It's huge. And so the ability to let go, not be on top of the world, take some chances, be vulnerable, let things get a little messy here and there. It's going to be good stuff. It really is. And you're going to feel like you can communicate better. You have better relationships. They're more meaningful. It takes some trust, but I do think that you're very capable of that at this point in your life. All right, so this was your reading. I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed it or if it was helpful, please give it a like. It would mean a lot to me. Also, if you like watching stuff like this, if you like tarot readings, deck reviews, talking about tarot or intuition or energy work, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of great stuff planned, and I usually put out like 2 videos a week. So do subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And more importantly than that, have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for being here and for receiving this information. I know it can sometimes be difficult, but also can also be transformative. So thank you for taking the chance. All right. Have a wonderful day. Bye.